Hello, welcome back. My name's Frank and this is my VW T3 Vanagon, 1983 flavour. In the last video you might have remembered that we did the interior. We were working on the design and the construction of the bed, completely homemade out of wood. If you want to see how I did that, please go back and watch that video. It's about 40 minutes long, but I take us through all the development process of it and it's in. This week is going to be, I'm going to slowly start eking towards the cab. I'm going to start with the door cards in the cab and then slowly start to work on other things in there. Looking at the dash, whether or not to replace or change paint. Also this week we're going to attack the ceiling. We're going to work it out in sections, get some LED lighting, do some wiring. Yeah, switches, maths, numbers and counting and electronics. Yeah, there's a bit of that in there as well. And apart from that, whatever other little things crock up, I've still got to do the worktop. I've still got to do other bits and bobs. It's still nowhere really near finished. So, you know the drill. Sit back, relax, make sure you go and get yourself a nice warm cup of tea. I mean, get some Fox's biscuits and bang some sugar in it if you're feeling brave. You do you. It's 2 sugars for me though. And I'll see you in there. We'll start on the door cards. See you in a bit. Oh. Oh. Ah. So you can see what we're working with. These are pretty old. These have been stapled from the front, usually there at the back, so that's not a ridge. All of these handles and door cards and latches and everything is pretty worn, pretty old. The little basket, the little, I suppose, map case, that's completely disassembled. So it all needs a bit of a rub and a kiss. My plan, exactly the same as I did with the back, is take all this off, cut a new one out of plywood, and then cut these shapes out, make sure I've got the right holes where I need them, and then screw it in and attach all this to it, and then it's just a plywood one. My idea behind that is that I can paint that whatever colour I like, or I could leave it plywood, it doesn't matter, you know. And it's really hard wearing, and if it's ruined I can just cut a new one out and replace it. It's cheap to replace, so that's my method. So I'm going to start by getting the handles off and getting all the rest of this off, getting this off, a couple of screws there, this off, just getting all this off and then removing it, and then I can cut one out then. So that's the plan once I've finished this. And then do the other side. Yeah. I'm excited to do the roof. You'll like the roof. I've got some good ideas. Right, I'll get my drill, start taking these to pieces. Oh. Yeah, I need to paint all this as well, which I've just avoided. As soon as it got onto I left the cab completely almost. In fact, the cab's almost completely untouched. Oh, there's 2 in there. Oh, there's 2 in there as well. There we are. Yeah. That screw was... Oh, self-tapper. Factory self-tappers, no way. How does this work? Okay, that's cool. Ow. Oh, don't lose the screw. Oh. Summer's finally here. It's the, what is it, 3rd day of summer or something today. Oh, it's about time. The weather's been absolutely crap. Speaker next. These are aftermarket speakers, but I'm very pleased with them. They're a lovely sound. Okay. So rather than using spade connectors on the speakers, they've just soldered them direct to the... Right, I've got the vast majority of stuff off now. It's just apart from this, I can't work out how this is attached. But oh, like that. So there's a screw in there. Wow, there's a lot of steel filings from when I was grinding and welding. That's pretty neat. I am unsure. I'll have to... What the... Oh, they've wired... So they've wired it in and then soldered it in so that you can't take it out. How brave. How incredibly ingenious of them. God. How the... It's almost like I've done it, for God's sake. What's that? So I'll keep this one for a better template. I've just realised that I'm going to have to take all this off, take the dash out in order to paint, because I've still not painted the so I've still got all that to do. And then I'm probably going to, I might leave the dash, just give it a good clean, take all the dash out, clean it, paint everything, sand and paint everything. And why can't I get this bloody thing out? Get out. And then put everything back in, all the new door cards and that. What on earth is going on? Don't break it, don't break it. Is it that? Don't know. That'll also give me time to order new bloody accoutrements. That's all ground off in there so the window doesn't open. I mean, almost all of these handles have been eaten by time and or pets, animals, previous owners. So it'd be nice to get some new ones of those. Yeah, it'd be a shame to do everything and then to put all the old shite back on. Yes. Right, dash next. Scary. Ooh. So I'm getting pretty lazy now, and rather than masking the whole window off, I've just done the edge. I can take some T-cut or some paint thinner and get all this overspray off. I'm just losing patience at the minute. So I'm trying to work on the cab. I've got, well, you can see absolute disaster in there. I decided not to go too far. I've gone to this point. I'm just going to clean all this up, because to take all this out means, yeah, a lot of disassembly, which I'm not very happy about. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm just going to paint it in, all right? Just crucify me in the comments, I don't care. It's just the way I'm going to do it. I've sanded everything off. I've been sanding and doing little nitty-gritty bits because, you guessed it, that like £2 a can matte black stuff, for some reason in some spots it was starting to rust through. I don't know why, because it was all primered beforehand, so it should have been fine, but there's some bits here as well which I've done all along the top edge, this edge. This had all started to bubble. So on your own head, be it using a cheap paint, But what can you do? I can only do what I can do. But so far I've sandpapered it all off and then painted it down again. It looks okay, it's just starting to dry. I didn't use the same matte black. I've used like a one-stage enamel something or other that you don't need a primer for. Anyway, so gonna do this door. This takes ages to dry, this paint, so I'm gonna leave that for a while, and then I'm gonna finish masking around the main screen window and finish sand. Well, no, I've finished sanding now. So just gonna finish around the main window and then mask that door up. Then once this has dried, same on that side, and then once that's dried, the rest of it. All right?
1 million, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
And like magic, we're in. I've used the same screws and washers as I did on the interior, and everything I took off and painted rather than buying new. Well, these are new, and of course these are new, but rather than buying new bits, I just took all this out and just painted it all. A little bit dusty now, but you can see, painted this, put everything back in, bit of a rub and a kiss, and did that side as well. I'm very pleased. I've still got to put the other map sort of box on this side. That is still yet to do. Yeah, but apart from that, I'm really pleased. Okay, so I'm doing some maths. I'm trying to work out the worktop. Now, the vast majority of it is pretty straight at the back edge, apart from this corner here. There's a curve in here, but I'm not going to send that off because I'm going to draw the designs to send this off to get somebody to make one for me, but I'm not going to include that corner because I could just plane and sand that off myself. But this corner at the back is, yeah, awkward. So I'll show you the plan in a second, but all I've done is I've measured here until I can see that a curve starts, which is near this paint mark. So after this paint mark, the curve starts to begin. I'll put you on a little bit closer so you can see. So from that, you can see that there's a big curve that starts to go in. If I try and keep the camera. So what I did was I measured from this point, and then I moved, well, no, I didn't. What I did, I measured from this point to the end of where I want the worktop to go, over there, which was 800 mil. So I divided that up into 8 sections of 100 mil, and then I measured here, measured back 100 mil, measured this distance, measured back 100 mil, measured this distance, 100 mil distance, and then eventually I ended up with something like that. So I had each measurement at 100 mil going back, so I know the shape of that curve. I could go in a bit more depth with that, but I think if they do that, just slightly curve them to those points, I can then sand and finish that off so it looks nice. However, at the back, I'm going to have beading along the whole thing anyway to hide this join. So I'm not too fussed. It doesn't have to be mega accurate. So this is what I've come up with so far. Now, on this edge here, I will have an inch overhang, almost the same as what I've got there now. An inch overhang this side, an inch overhang this side, and an inch overhang this side-ish. I know I'm doing it in mil, and now I'm talking about inches, just it's the way my brain works. Milk and lager is in pints, but, you know, fuel is in litres. It's Britain, okay? Just get with it. So similar to the gaps that I've got here. I've got an inch there, I've got an inch here, I've got an inch here, and I've got an inch here. Now the reason for why is so that when I've got the drawers and the doors in, it hides any joins and any mismatch measurements that I've made. So that's taken into account here. Now this back part, I can't have an inch overhang at this back part because because the chair has to fold up and it'll get in the way. So I've got this flush with the edge of here all the way along. So this is a straight line all the way along, and then I've measured out that curve. And like I said, for this part, it's vastly similar from here to where that paint mark is, where the curve starts. So I'm not too fussed. I mean, if there is it's very slight, and I can do that with a sander myself. So that's the plan. That's what we've got. That's what I'm sending off. And yeah, that's it really. So I'll mock up a smaller scale picture of what this would look like without measurements and lines and stuff drawn all over it, and then I'll send that off to them to get them to make it. A final point, just to explain my workings. This was my original design. Now, yeah, it looks a bit messy there, but when you finalize, when you're happy with what you've got, before you send this off, you need to add all these up and make sure that they make sense. If you add, let's say, where were we? 220 and 338 together, they should make 558. Do you know what I mean? That's not, well, yeah, it is. So they should add up to that distance, because it's these two distances together, isn't it? And then if you measure along, well, I couldn't really measure that because of the curve, but if you add these two up, they should come up with the overall length from that point to that point. Do you know what I mean? Check your work before you send this off, which is why it's taken me so long. I don't want to get it here, pay all the money, and then for me to get the planer out and sander out and take days getting it, moulding it into the shape, when I could just get them to do it. So yeah, always check your work.
2 days later.
Okay, now that that's done, the worktop's turned up. So I'm going to try and unwrap that first. I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to test fit the worktop just to make sure that it works. I'm slightly concerned about this curve at the back. I might have to do some more sanding, whatevs. But I'll test fit it first, mark whatever sanding I need to do, and then I'm going to try and oil it. I'm going to find somewhere to set it up, oil it, wait for it to dry, and then this can go on then, and then I can start mapping out doors and hinges and things. Yeah. Da, da, da. Oh, okay. Oh, I hope this fits. I genuinely haven't tested this yet. Right, this needs to go that way a little bit more, so I need to take off this corner. Yes, this curve I didn't account for, so I've got about a centimetre to take off that end and then curve it in, and then this should sit flush then, and then hopefully this corner here, yeah, here I might have to sand. So you can see here I'm going to have to sand this so that this can sit probably about 1/4 of an inch in a little bit more. You can see there's quite a bit of a gap, but that's because of this edge here. Keep the noise down out there. So I'll have to take this corner off first and then get it to sit flush. I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. Alright, you can see I'm gonna have to get the planer in to sort of straighten all that out. But yeah, well, you know, that's yeah, just don't look at that. Just ignore that. That's fine. Look at the rest of it. Ooh, yeah. So about there, I say. Well, no, we'll go there. So that corner definitely. This bit here. From there. That needs coming out. And then from here, maybe a bit more, but we'll see. Maybe a little bit more. I didn't get this cut to size. Well, I mean, I got it cut to like the general size, but the curve at the back, for me to get them to cut that, as you saw when I took all the measurements, individual measurements, they wanted an extra, let's just say a lot more money, almost an extra third on top of the total price. So yeah, I wasn't going to do that. This cut into the general shape. I've got the outside, the bit you're going to see is fine. Yeah, this cost just over 200 quid. I know, it's not the cheapest option, but I don't have the big tools or big power tools or circular saws and stuff to cut this accurately and make it look good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand and cut out these bits at the back so it sits as flush as I can, so that this edge is flush and where it's supposed to be. And then I can run a bead, or I could run like some corner wood. What do you see them? It's like you see them on like architraves and stuff like that, or on the floor where they cover up the joins on flooring. I'll just get a long piece of that because it's quite long enough, and I can bend it. I can keep it all in one piece, and it'll act as a bit of a backstop then, so stuff can't get down the gap. Anyway, I'm yabbering on. I'm going to go and cut these out, and then once I'm happy that it fits, I'll get it stained. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I've just got some fancy oil that was a tenner and a sponge, and I'm just going to cover it in that. And I don't know, am I supposed to sand it first? I don't know, I'll have to do some homework. I think I'll have to do a bit of research. The surface, the finish is okay. I don't know if it would need sanding anyway. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of online research first and then see if I need to sand it, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll see you in a bit. I've done almost this whole project with this single Spear & Jackson saw. I've had this for about 6 months, and this is the first time I'm using it. And I must say, it's a much nicer finish on the underside. That thing bloody tears it up. So I don't know much about woodwork at all, really, but what I do know is from watching my dad, my older brother Peter, they're actual joiners. I am definitely not that. Try and cut this into sections so that when I chisel that out, it only chisels out that section, you know what I mean? It's not going to go anywhere I don't want it to go and start splitting the wood. Oop. Now you might see that I'm holding the chisel backwards, because if I hold it this way, this beveled edge starts to drive the chisel into the work that way, which you don't want. Well, I don't want at the minute. So I'm holding it back the way so that I'm chiseling out away from the work, and then you just peel the wood off slowly until you get to the desired depth, I suppose, and then keep chipping away. The idea isn't to take off massive chunks, you're just there to peel the wood away, I suppose, I guess. And then you can slowly angle it forward, and then you can get, look at that, that's actually not, that's not bad, that, I'm not far off. Okay. Don't have to put any mad pressure on the chisel either, it seems to just do its work. As long as it's sharp, I'll show you. So far, that's what we're looking at. It's okay, doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah. actual woodworkers are probably cringing at me right now, but this is how I'm doing it, alright? Okay. It's working so far until it doesn't work, so, and then we'll address it then, I suppose. Yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah, cheat code. Makes me nervous when a lot of it comes off in one go, but as long as your chisel's sharp and you know where you're pointing it, it seems to, like I said, I'm not a bloody expert at all, you can tell I'm not a joiner, but as long as the chisel's sharp and it's pointing it the right way, it seems to do all right. Happy days. Right, should we go and see if it fits? Yeah, okay. Curve that out, and here, so these two corners. Oh, that's a bugger, isn't it? It's only it's not far. Very close. Very close. Good. It's gonna look good. See, it's as long as it might be okay. Yeah, I'll smooth those corners out, because as long as this seat, because it's the seat folding up that this needs to be flush for, so I'll take those corners off, so I'll get an extra few mil in there. Boom, done that straight up. As long as the seat comes up, I'll call that done. We can go and get this stained. Again, to any actual woodworkers watching, close your eyes. I'm trying to, obviously when I cut these, varying different heights, only by a few mil, little bit of a lip there, so I'm just trying to plane it so it's a long, straight, minimal curve, if that makes sense, so that when I fasten the top down, you can't tell, okay? That's because there's no overhang here. There's nothing to hide it. It's all going to be right flush up against it. So I kind of want it to look as close as I possibly can get it without starting again. I know I should be going along, but I can't, because then I hit that, and yeah. Just leave me alone, okay guys? I'm sorry. So mark a little bit more off there. A little bit. Okay. Right, now that that's been butchered, I need to think about how I'm going to stain this worktop. As far as I know, you just wipe the oil on it and it does the stuff. So, but the only problem I've got is I haven't got any bloody room. That's in here because there's something else happening at my workshop on the farm, which I don't want to talk about. And it's classic British summertime, so I don't want to start and then for it to rain, because I need to wait for the oil to dry, so I need time. I need somewhere dry with time. I don't know, maybe I can try and do it in here. First world problems, guys. Alright, okay. So, I've done a little bit of research. Got a sponge, I've got some Danish furniture clean, Danish oil. I've never done this, but the internet says that use a sponge, or they said a sponge type brush. So I've got a sponge because it helps apply it evenly. And then you just let it dry. So that's the plan. Oh yeah. Lorcan's still playing in the garden at the minute. So I've got it set up here. It's not ideal, but it's the way it is. Ari's got a little project on at the go as well at the minute, and she's using this space. So I don't want to move too much around, and at the same time I don't want to take her space. So I'm going to try and be as economical with the time and the space as I can. It says that you're supposed to follow the grain. Unfortunately, this is in different bits and bobs, so I can't do that. But you can see that you're getting I can see that I'm getting like an even spread. You play with it, Lorcan. I'm not throwing that thing for you and doing me head in. And it really brings out the colour. Look at that. Oh, I hope you can see that on camera. That looks absolutely great. Classic. You remember seeing those clouds just a second ago, and the sun's out now. You can't win. You can't win. Oop. And we get the ends as well. Look at that. Yeah. Ah, great. It looks fantastic. That looks fab. Get this end as well. No wonder people do this for a living. This is great. I'm enjoying this. Look at that. Looks fantastic. Okay. So I don't know how long I'm supposed to leave it to dry. Not known, undecided. But I suppose I can work it out until it's dry. Really, that's a stupid question, wasn't it? Stupid statement, Frank. Shut up. Just get on with it. Put it in the corner. Oh yeah. Oh. I mean, look at that. It's completely different. It looks great. So I got this worktop from a company called Worktops. They've got an eBay shop, but it's a little bit strange and convoluted, especially if you want different shapes and angles and stuff. So I measured everything out, plotted a plan for them, bit of a diagram, did all the measurements in millimeters, and then sent it off to them. Search the company on Google, because then you can get their correct email address. The one on eBay is wrong, and you can get their number as well, and you can ring them up and chat to them. You know, because if you want funny shapes and different stuff, they offer a load of different services. And the lady on the end of the phone was really, really helpful. They had a couple of offices as well. I think one was London and one was Manchester or something like that. So you can go and get it if you wanted to. The delivery was good. Turned up in a couple of days. There's a bit of a rough edge here, just on this corner, which is a bit of a shame, but no biggie. So yeah, I highly recommend them, because I was going to go out and find one and cut it myself, and I thought, I haven't got the power tools to do it, and I haven't got the correct tooling, and I didn't want to make an arse of it. So I used them, and they were really good. So yeah, I'm not sponsored or anything, I'm just saying that, yeah, if you need one, and you don't mind paying a couple £100, I mean, look at it, it's great. They do it, it comes non-oiled, but they do an oiling service as well, but it was like an extra 30 or an extra 60 quid. This was, what, tenner? And, well, you've just watched me do it, so I saved myself a lot of money there. So, yeah, there you go. That's the end of that. This is drying pretty quick. So I'm going to leave this for about an hour, and then I'll come back. I might put another one on because I want to try and soak in as much into it as I can. And yeah, so I'll come back to that. Come on, Lorcan, let's go and have a play. Ooh. Get it then. So after a little bit of work, things are looking pretty straight now. See, I've straightened all that higgledy-piggledy stuff out, so it should fit pretty flush. And here we are. It's in. It's not fastened down or anything just yet, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to get into the storage, which I've still got all the stuff in here. I wanted to cut some top-down storage here, so some hinged lids, I suppose, doors, one here so I can access inside here, and one here so I can get inside like the tools and stuff. The problem is, and this is something I'm still trying to work out, I'm really struggling with it in the minute, is I can cut with my saw in like that and in like that, no dramas. How on earth do I then cut this cut along the back without butchering, you know, whilst keeping it looking nice? And I don't know. I have no idea. I'm struggling with it at the minute. I've asked my dad and I've asked Peter to see if they have any idea. I'm just waiting to get back from them now. So I'm stuck on that bit until I can work something out. Yeah. Right, so I've reached a bit of a point now where unfortunately I don't have any plywood that's going to fit on the offcuts that I've got left. And I said we were going to make a start on the roof for this video, but I'm afraid I don't think I'm going to be able to until I go and get some more. So I think that's going to be what we've got for this episode, for this video at least. But we are getting there slowly. What I want to achieve next video is going to be the top-down storage, work out how I'm going to cut that section along the back so I can get both of those doors in, and then I'll buy some more plywood for the ceilings. I'm going to check that these are working, and I'm going to work that out. I might have to introduce a dimmer switch or something like that, and then I'm going to fit these. By that time, hopefully, I'll have the material to upholster it as well. And then I think last, very, very last, is going to be the floor. I still need to think about drawers and doors and stuff. Yeah. There's still stuff to do. Now, I know this has been quite a while since I got a video out. And it's just because really real life's getting in the way a little bit. But I'm slowly resurging my enthusiasm for it. My motivation is returning. And I want to get this done. So, thank you very much for being so patient, and thank you for watching. If you want to have a look at some of the previous videos of how I've got to this stage from a really old 80s van, go back and have a look. All my videos from the start of where I'm ripping this out when I first get it, the first drive, all the rest of it, the engine problems that I've had with it, had the engine out, blew all that to pieces a couple of times now. Yeah, go and have a look. The whole history of that is on there. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but I'm really pleased with how it's turning out so far. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you. We'll see you next time.